All right, so hey, what's up, y'all? It is 8:02 in the AM on February 22nd, 2020, and I am writing, Lord, I am recording this video because I keep getting demoralizing messages via social media, and so I figured that this is something that I needed to finally address. I wanted to talk about this pre-publication, but I just couldn't find the time. I just had a lot of stuff going on, and so I am now making this video to discuss the restart. I would tell you that if you have not read the restart yet, then you should click off of this video because it's about to get spoiler-tastic in here. So I started writing the restart, I think in like mid-January, and I couldn't, like, I got to a certain point and I was just like stuck. I didn't know um, how to progress. It just wasn't coming together in the way that I thought it should, and I couldn't figure out what the missing link was. And so um, I I I kept pushing on though. I kept adding words to the doc because I'm like, I'll figure it out along the way. Like, I know how the story is supposed to unfold. I know everything about these characters, so I'll figure out what that thing is that is quote unquote missing. And then on January 26th, that morning, we got the news that Kobe had transitioned in that horrific helicopter crash, and just that changed a lot of things. I think I should be clear when I say that I'm really a Kobe fan, and that's not a diss. I recognize like how amazing of a ball player he is. I mean, he was, excuse me, and the things that he did for the game um, are like hella impactful, and even his work that he was doing with his girls, his daughter's team, the Mambas, and all that stuff, like Mamba, whatever. All of the work that he's doing, like I recognize it fully. I, respect everything that was part of his career, and like, but I just personally wasn't a Kobe girl. And so when that happened, I was thrown for a loop. Obviously, we all were, because who expected to wake up on a random Sunday morning and find out that Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, and countless others, not countless others, seven other people, had perished in a horrific crash. Nobody expected to wake up to that news on Sunday morning. So I was in a weird like space. Like I got low key obsessive. Like I was watching all of the coverage on ESPN and NBA TV like that whole day. Like I just could not turn it off. And like a few of my friends are basketball fans, and so like we were having conversations about things or whatever. And um, like maybe 2 days after Kobe's accident, I was like, oh my God, I figured it out. What was going on with the restart, but I was like, I don't want to do this. And so I, I, I think, I can't remember which of my friends was the first one I told. But think, I think it was Christina. And I was like, I think I have to kill Corinne. And I was not okay with that. And I kept telling her, I'm like, I'm not okay with this. Like, I got to figure out a way around it. Like, maybe I don't need to kill Corinne. Like, because I knew the entire time that Corinne and Blair were linked. The I keep stuttering. The sport thing was an obvious connection between the two of them since they played the same sport, and so I was like, okay, um, like they're gonna be linked somehow. But I hadn't, like, in my brain it was just like, oh, Corinne's gonna be like her mentor that she talks to like along the way, yada yada yada, whatever. And so when I came to the realization that I had to kill Corinne, I was not okay um, at all. Many of y'all have expressed that I ain't shit, and um, various other terrible epithets. And I mean, I get it. Like, I sympathize with y'all, I empathize with y'all, because it was not something that I necessarily wanted to do. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with going forward still. And it's something that it was not an easy decision to make, nor was it something that I did for like shock value or just because. Like, I don't believe in killing people, fictional people even, um, just for show. Like, I went back and forth so many times. Like, I was like, no, this is dumb. Like, I don't need to kill her. Like, I don't know. I just need to bring her in some other stronger way, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, maybe, she just needs to play a bigger role than I thought she would initially. And so I tried to not do it. And then I was like, okay, this isn't working still. Maybe I just maybe I just write that chapter and see how it works. And so I wrote it, and I was like, ooh, wow, this probably was the missing link. Like, it almost immediately, I was like, okay, boom, I know how the rest of this is unfolding. Like, I know where the rest of this is going. Fuck, I'm gonna get so much um, for doing that. And I honestly, it's hurtful to me. Like, and y'all can't see it, but my whiteboard, where I like jot down all of like my ideas and my um, notes on like works in progress and things like that, is hanging up back there. And on the very top of it, it says R.I.P. Kobe, R.I.P. Gigi, and R.I.P. Coco. And when I wrote that up there, it was like right after I completed that chapter. And obviously the book is done and it's out. But every day I walk past it and I'm just like, oh, that still hurts. Like, the death of a fictional character should not hurt that much, but it's also like she was a person that I created, and I crafted, and I took a lot of time, even though she was an ancillary character, I took a lot of time in figuring out how she was instrumental in my main's life. And so having to do that in another book, I was not okay with it. So I don't want y'all to think that like it was just a cavalier choice, or if it's something I added for shock value or anything like that. Because like I said, I'm not into cheap gimmicky shit, and I never want to be known as a person who does gimmicky things. I think that every action and every word that occurs in books that I write is very specific and instrumental and important to the narrative. um, I know that I've seen commentary like, oh, this was filler, this is too much, this is that, all this extra stuff. But every detail that is put into a Nicole Falls book serves a purpose. And y'all might not see the purposes that they serve, but I do. I don't believe in wasting words. I don't believe in padding books. I don't believe in emotional manipulation of readers just to shock them. Um, because these are things that I do not like as a reader, so I would 100% not do it as an author. And I catch flack for that because people are like, well, this book isn't long enough. You should have made it shorter, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, okay, do you want me to pad this with stuff that is false and not true to the narrative? Or do you want me to tell the story how it came to me? So, unfortunately, this was how this story came to me, and I fought it every step of the way. um, and I don't I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. And I mean, just having to do that. Like, I'm a huge fan of that book. Actually, I really, really enjoy Blair and Lee. Um, but yeah, it was hard for me too. I feel like I've said that like 4 times, but I honestly mean it. Like, it was very hard for me too. And I uh, think we might, um, see how that death reverberated in other people's lives. Maybe sometime this year. I'm not 100% sure. I do know that um, Kayleen and Rux's book was book one in that series, and there is a planned book two, which is supposed to follow Kayleen's cousin Tina. And so we may see some more about Corinne's passing and how that affect that group of people, but um, not in depth because though they were all friendly, um, Corinne was Kayleen's friend and not necessarily Tina's friend. And so I want to be clear in that we are probably not going to see, you know, a deep dive into how Kayleen or Rux is affected um, by Corinne's death. But I think that it would be stupid to say that it probably would not come up at all in that book because it still is impactful to that community. So yeah, so we might, depending on whether or not they talk to me, because Tina's hero is being very cagey. But we might see more about Corinne from that POV. But again, I'm not sure when or if that will happen this year. But yeah. So other than that, I'm glad that you guys are liking the book overall. I'm sorry for hurting your feelings, but I I just had to stay true to how the story unfolded, unfortunately. Um, and it's sad, but I think that um, in writing that I've become less. Um, I don't know how to articulate it, so I'm just gonna truncate that thought. Um, but yeah, so this has been 12 minutes of me rambling about a fictional death that I did not want to write, but in the end ended up turning into a really beautiful love story as well. So thank y'all for reading and rating and reviewing. I appreciate y'all so much. You know, I feel like I tell y'all this often, but I just want you to know that I really do appreciate y'all because this is my job now. So every little bit of support goes a very long way in paying my bills and making sure that this double chin stays here. So on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. But yeah, bye guys.